What's up, Cinema Shogun here, and experts are saying that Johnny Depp has already won, at least in the court of public opinion. But let's be honest, folks, did we really need experts to tell us this? I think this is something that we kind of could have found out on our own. We could have came to this conclusion on our own. It's not hard to put 2 and 2 together. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Obviously, Johnny is innocent. But seriously though, I think this is pretty evident if you're someone who's been paying attention to this case, if you're someone that has been, looking around at what other people have to say, if you're someone that's on social media and you see certain hashtags trend, it's become blatantly obvious that most people are on Johnny's side. But let's just take a look at what the experts have to say. When Johnny Depp stepped off the stand, I think he already won based on his definition of winning, says Texas civil attorney Catherine Lizardo, because he already obtained the favor of the court of public opinion once he told his story. And you know what? I agree. This is a point that I've been trying to make over the past 6 weeks. That I don't think this is about money for Johnny. Okay, money never hurts anyone. I don't think this is about money for Johnny. This is about Johnny being able to tell the truth, to tell his side of the story to everyone. And once Johnny did that, I felt like Johnny was at peace. Now don't get me wrong. Winning this case will be the cherry on top. We still want the victory. I'm not going to sit here and act like we don't want to win the case. Of course we want Johnny to win the case. And of course it will look even better on Johnny's behalf if he does. But even if he doesn't, Johnny did the job that he came here to do. And I fully believe that. I fully believe that this was about Johnny being able to tell his story and less about Johnny getting all of this money that he may have lost from losing out on these movie roles. I think for Johnny Depp, winning the legal side of the defamation claim does not matter to him. Winning, it would just be icing on the cake for him because his main goal for filing the defamation lawsuit was to clear his name and to appeal to the court of public opinion. And that's basically what I just said. And I promise you, I did not read that before talking, so these experts, they're basically saying the same thing that I've been saying for weeks. But it's good to see that other people feel this way. At the end of the day, I'm just some guy on YouTube. It's nice to see that lawyers out there and people who do this type of work for a living see the same thing. So it's not just me, having some biased goggles on where I think Johnny is going to win. It's not that. It's obvious that Johnny has won in the court of public opinion. Right now, I think it's undisputed that the court of public opinion favors him and heard him and are now supporting him, whether he wins or not. I don't think it matters to him or even to the court of public opinion. And that right there is a good point, Lizardo. Even if Johnny wins this case, scratch that. Even if Johnny loses this case, everyone that's been on Johnny's side, they're still going to be on Johnny's side. If Johnny loses the case on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, do you think it's going to make me feel any differently? Do you think you at home will feel any differently? Do you think after watching this trial, after watching all of this evidence come out, after watching AH get exposed time and time again, that you will see a verdict and be like, oh, well, Johnny lost. I guess Johnny's guilty of all of those things. Johnny's a bad person now. No one's going to react that way. We all already know what's up. So I don't feel like that's going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. Whereas the only thing it will change is how emboldened the mainstream media gets in defending AH. If AH wins this case, you're going to see a whole nother public smear campaign against Johnny Depp come out. And it's not going to affect how I feel, It's not going to affect how you feel, but it may affect some people who aren't really paying attention to the situation. So if AH wins, like I said, it's going to embolden a lot of people to start talking. So go ahead and expect that. Go ahead and expect that if it does happen. But I don't expect her to win. California entertainment lawyer Mitra Hurian added that the case isn't really about winning a defamation claim, but about clearing Depp's name in the public sphere, as he said. This case is about using the courts as a platform to tell his side of the story and clearing the record and swaying the court of public opinion. It's more important than the actual lawsuit. Certainly, winning the lawsuit helps because it would establish that something untrue was said about him, and that's a big deal. And once again, I think that's a good point right there. It's like he's used the courts as a platform to tell his story. Some would ask, well, why didn't he just film him telling his side of the story? Why didn't he just, make a little documentary about his side of the story? Why didn't he just do a public service announcement? Why take it to the courts? Well, you see, he could kill two birds with one stone here. In the courts, he could tell his side of the story while simultaneously having AH's side of the story picked apart by professionals, while at the same time possibly winning and getting all of this money that he has lost because all of the roles that he lost because of AH. So for him, it's like a win-win situation. Even if he loses, he still won in the court of public opinion. But if he wins in the court of public opinion, and he gets a nice little paycheck. So I don't see anything wrong with how he's gone about it so far. But like he said, winning the lawsuit isn't really what he's here to do. And I think that's been clear when you watch how this trial has played out. I've had to remind people time and time again, this trial isn't about proving that AH is a bad person. This trial isn't about proving that Johnny Depp isn't a bad person. This trial is not anything, it's not about anything like that. This trial is to prove that AH's article that she wrote or had someone else write damaged Johnny's career. Cut and dry. That's simple. That's what this trial is about. This trial isn't about proving that AH did this to Johnny Depp on this date or that date. This trial isn't really about proving that Johnny Depp didn't do this on this date or that date. It's about proving that this article hurt Johnny Depp and that this article was false. Defamation. But this trial has gone all over the place. And it's gone all over the place because Johnny isn't necessarily worried about proving that this hurt his career. He's more so worried about proving that he isn't the monster that she made him out to be. He went into this knowing that all of this was going to come out. Fine, I do drugs. I battled addiction since I was young. But I am not a wife beater. And that's all he is trying to say. Exactly. His fans are basically doing a smear campaign around AH without him even having to do anything. That's what a 6-week trial televised every day. That's what they were counting on would happen. And yeah, I don't think Johnny Depp's fans are like trying to organize a smear campaign against AH. So I don't really necessarily like the way this is worded because it almost implies that this was like a plan. And I don't think that's the case. In fact, I would go so far as to say a lot of the people who are watching this trial and are making fun of AH, they aren't part of like Johnny Depp's core fan base. You know what I mean? Like, I like Johnny Depp. one of, if not my favorite actor. I think one of the most talented actors we've ever seen. But I'm not someone who goes absolutely crazy over him. Like, I'm not going to faint if I see Johnny Depp. I'm probably not going to sit outside the courtroom for 5 days trying to get a glimpse at him. You know, so I'm not one of those die-hard, crazy Johnny Depp fans. But I guess you could consider me a Johnny Depp fan. But I feel like a lot of the people watching this trial, they aren't what you would consider like die-hard Johnny Depp fans. They're just spectators who realize that AH is full of crap and they like making fun of it. If the internet is a ruthless place, the internet is a savage, savage place. You better believe if they found a reason to make fun of Johnny Depp, they would. If they thought for 1 second that Johnny Depp was as guilty as AH, they would drag his name through the mud in a heartbeat. A lot of these people aren't approaching this situation with a biased perspective. They are watching the trial play out and realizing how idiotic a lot of AH's claims are. Therefore, they are memeing it, and it's become funny. So yeah, I guess you could call it a smear campaign, but that would imply that there's a campaign behind it. I think people are just memeing the hell out of this trial, and unfortunately for AH, she's the one that looks stupid here. She makes herself an easy target to get made fun of. People online love to hate her. It's like vitriol. I don't think people... I wouldn't say that people love to hate her. I just think that she's easy to hate because of how blatantly obvious it is that she's lying. Judah Engelmeyer, the president of public relations firm Herald PR, who reps disgraced filmmaker Harvey Weinstein, agreed that the fact that the trial was televised was a loss for AH in the public and suited Depp well as a natural entertainer. So this guy represents Harvey Weinstein, man. Imagine having to work in Hollywood and having to represent some of these monsters. It's like your job. You know, sometimes we're tough on lawyers because they're defending certain clients that are terrible clients, but it's their job. It's not always their fault. Although, if I was in this position, I think I would try to pick and choose my clients differently, but, you know, I can't put myself in people's shoes, and, you know, people got to make their money. It's horrible because you see every flaw, every misspoken word, every piece of testimony that doesn't necessarily jive with how she said something happened a couple of days ago, and then social media calls her out and beats her out for it right away, Engelmeyer said. She is human. She is sitting in a high-pressure role. There is a lot at stake for her. It isn't going to go flawlessly. And she is going to make mistakes, Engelmeyer said. Social media doesn't care about the facts. They just care about what they see. All right. You know, just when I tried to give this guy the benefit of the doubt for working for Harvey Weinstein, he goes and proves that he just is a complete idiot. Now, look, let's be honest here. I agree with some of what he's saying. AH is human. Regardless if you want to believe it or not. Yeah, maybe she takes poops in a bed like an animal, but she is... Let me see. I guess she's a human. All right? Humans are going to make mistakes. When you have a human being on the stand in a court case, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to blunder over some of their words. Maybe they would misconstrue some of their dates. It's human nature. I understand that we at home are able to watch this on TV. We're able to replay the replays on YouTube. We're able to watch our favorite content creators talk about it. But it's still a high-pressure situation. And people on the stand would make mistakes. And if you were on the stand, you would make some mistakes as well. However, this goes beyond a few mumbled words. This goes beyond a few missteps in the way she was speaking. Okay? This is about her blatantly lying. This is about her having these dates that continuously change. You know, AH's story about Johnny Depp is really fluid. It's fluid meaning that it keeps flowing and changing as time goes by. And her story about Johnny Depp can fit in any container and take the shape of that container, just like water. You could pour water in a coffee cup. You could pour water in a water bottle. You could drink water through one of those swirly straws. That's kind of like AH's claims about Johnny Depp. Whatever sounds good at the time, whatever fits in at the time, that's her narrative. And that's why people are picking it apart. It's not because she's made a few mistakes that all humans make. It's because she's blatantly, obviously lying time and time again. And these mistakes that she's making, they aren't necessarily mistakes. It's just her being stupid. You know what I mean? And when he says that social media doesn't care about the facts, they only care about what they see. No, we care about the facts. And what we see is AH not telling the facts. You know, we see that the facts are on Johnny Depp's side. We see that AH is doctoring photos. We see that AH is pretending like the same exact photo is a different photo, and she's using it for different dates and different allegations. So we see very clearly what's going on here. On the other hand, because Johnny Depp is a natural star who is always entertaining, he is in front of the TV camera and he's entertaining once again. I think it's probably a defense mechanism because it's also calculated too. He's trying to be witty. He's trying to be funny. That's his way of winning over audiences, whether he's on stage or in front of a camera or in front of a jury. Now, Johnny Depp is a good actor. And Johnny Depp is an actor. I don't put it past anyone to, when they get on the stand, especially if they're an experienced actor, to maybe put on a little bit of an act. However, Johnny came across as way more genuine to me than AH. And that's just how I feel in my gut. That's the gut feeling I get. I want you all to understand that I think even more so than a lot of people covering this trial, and just a lot of people in general, that I keep an open mind. If I were to come in this trial, and the evidence showed that Johnny was a bad person, and the evidence showed that Johnny was lying, I wouldn't sit here and sugarcoat it for you all. I would come out and say it. I don't care if it pissed people off. I would say it. That's the type of person I am. I'm not going to bite my tongue. I'm not going to form my opinion around what I think makes people happy. If you've watched my channel long enough, you should know that. I piss people off on my channel all the time. It comes with the nature of the job. So going into this situation, I was completely open-minded. Yet, AH proved time and time again that she was lying. The evidence proved that she was lying. The people who took the stand, who were there, all basically said that she was lying. And when Johnny was on the stand, yeah, he was a little witty. Yeah, he had a couple of little jokes. But for the most part, he seemed kind of calm, cool, collected. He didn't seem like he was putting on an act. He just seemed like he was being his natural self. And his natural self is sometimes a little bit witty. At least he isn't getting fiery and argumentative, or I butchered that word. But at least he isn't just getting disrespectful like AH is. AH is visibly getting irritated. She's talking over the lawyers. She's directing all of her answers directly to the jury. She's getting catty. She's getting attitudes. Johnny never did that. Johnny seems more sincere to me. And while Depp may come out a little tarnished and is not a family man anymore after the trial, Engelmayer says Depp has shown how vast his base of supporters and fans is, which could appeal to studios considering hiring him for new projects. I'm kind of on the fence about that. Yeah, I do believe Johnny's name is a little bit tarnished now. There's a lot of people who are never going to view Johnny the same. And it upsets people every time I say that, but that's the reality. Johnny's own lawyer said it in his closing statements. So if you have a problem with me saying that, take it up with Johnny's lawyer, not with me. People are going to view him differently. Not me, not you, but other people are going to view Johnny differently. Stop thinking that everyone has the same thought process as me or you. They don't. There's a large portion of people out there that will never look at this man the same after finding out that he was an addict and he did drugs and what have you. That's just reality. As far as him not being a family man anymore, I think what he means by that is not him being a family man within his own family, but him basically being in movies that appeals to family audiences and young audiences. I don't think that's going to happen for a while, if ever. I don't think Johnny Depp is going to be in any kids' movies for a long time. You're not going to see Johnny Depp in the latest Disney movie and the latest Pixar movie. Johnny Depp's roles from here on out, I would assume, will be a little bit different. And Johnny Depp has always been someone who he could adapt into any role. This guy is like a chameleon. And when he falls into a role, he completely falls into that role. And throughout his career, he's had, like I said, different types of movies. But he's had a lot of movies that appeal to younger audiences. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see that for a while, if ever, from Johnny Depp. However, I will be there to support whatever movies that he does. Now, as far as studios considering him for new projects because he has this huge fan base, I'm not so sure about that either. I mean, we have to understand here, folks, or you all have to understand. I think I understand this. Some of you all understand this as well. Hollywood and the court of public opinion, they're two different things. Hollywood right now, they're not doing what's popular. They're not doing things to sell tickets. They're doing things to fit into a certain political narrative. They're doing things to appeal to a certain political crowd. That's why you're seeing all of this woke nonsense garbage on television. That's why all of these movies are crap now. That's why no one's going to the movie theaters anymore. Even the big time movies, they're not performing as well as they usually would. Because Hollywood isn't caring about appealing to the audiences who are there to watch these movies. They only care about virtue signaling. They only care about making their movie as woke as possible. That's what they care about. Hollywood absolutely despises Johnny Depp right now. Because Johnny Depp put a crack in their narrative. Their whole Me Too movement, all of this crap that they got going on in Hollywood, Johnny Depp put a crack in it. Johnny Depp is still, and will be for some time, public enemy number one in Hollywood. People must realize that. It doesn't matter if he wins this case. It doesn't matter if millions of people say they support Johnny. Hollywood does not care. Hollywood doesn't care about the fans. Have you seen the latest Star Wars and Marvel movies? Do you think they're making those movies to appeal to the fans, to those fan bases? No. They're making those movies to push a certain narrative, a certain political agenda across. Hollywood doesn't care if Johnny Depp has a lot of fans. Now, will independent studios pick up on this? Yeah. Is there a couple of rogue studios out there in Hollywood that may want to work with Johnny Depp? I'm sure. But the majority of Hollywood, it's like a cult. Matter of fact, it's not like a cult. It is a cult. And when you go against their beliefs and you go against what their narrative is, you're out of there. It doesn't matter who you are. So in many ways, I believe Johnny Depp is almost done in Hollywood, at least for now. Even though Johnny Depp is someone that goes along for the most part with what Hollywood's narrative is. I'm hoping that Johnny has an awakening. That Johnny realizes that Hollywood ain't the place to be. These people you're surrounding yourself with, they're evil people. I don't think Johnny is your typical Hollywood guy. I think Johnny's a better person than most of those Hollywood cultists. But he was wrapped up in that scene for years. So hopefully he could break that mentality and get out of it. He also did show that he has a huge fan base that will bring a big crowd, Ingmeier said. And I think it's going to impress studios more than anything else. And while they aren't going to make him the lovable hero in the next movie, they could make him the hateable villain or the lovable villain. Now, Ahurian was a little more skeptical about Depp's marketability going forward. Now the question is, these fans who are rallying behind him, do they have more sway than a potential financer or investor who is willing to putting up the risk? If it were me, I would want to do drug checks. I need him to be on his best behavior. And he gets one more shot. So this person is basically saying that it doesn't matter what fans think. What matters is the people who put up the money for these movies. Will they view Johnny as a risk? Now, I disagree with this. I don't think they care about viewing Johnny as a risk. I think they care about pushing their narrative. Therefore, they're going to try to push Johnny out of Hollywood. But I understand what he's saying here. But I don't think the majority of people on Earth would be like, oh, Johnny Depp's in this movie, we're not going to go see it because of Johnny. No. Now, I've seen thousands upon thousands of people saying, hey, we're not even going to watch Aquaman 2 because is in it. I don't think people want to go watch AH's movies. However, I do think a large portion of people will go show up to whatever movie Johnny Depp does just to support him. And that may be good for the box office, but Hollywood does not care about the box office anymore. Okay? Hollywood is trying to stall us out. They're trying to stall us normal people out for the next few years until they can build a total fan base of confused, weirdo lunatics that likes the agenda that they're pushing. Ingmeier also said he believes could still continue her career after the trial with studios that want to be on the right side of social history, given her roles in smaller films, and she could also go on talk shows to discuss her experience after going through 2 trials. So you can tell Ingmeier is a Hollywood shill. Ingmeier is a simp for saying that studios who want to be on the right side of history will work with But you know what? As idiotic and stupid as that sounds, that's the Hollywood mentality. We want to be on the right side of history. Believe all women, even when they take dumps in the bed and lie nonstop. We must believe them, even when you have evidence to prove they're lying. We must believe them, even when they say they have a broken nose and a smashed-in face, but they go on a talk show 4 hours later looking perfectly fine. We must believe them. We must go along with this Hollywood narrative. We must go along with the woke political agenda. We must push this agenda on everyone. That's how Hollywood feels. That's why Engelmeyer feels this way. And undoubtedly, there's a lot of studios that feel the same. Do not be surprised if you see AH gracing movie posters everywhere after this trial, because a lot of them want to champion her up as a hero. There is still a group of women out there, a group of supporters, and people who believe that she is righteous for coming out with her voice and her truth, and strong enough to sit there and take the public humiliation during the course of this trial. Bam, right there. Hollywood loves this. I almost cuss. I'm trying not to cuss as much in my videos. Hollywood loves this your truth, her truth, his truth. They love that shit. Well, there I go. They love it. Amber Heard needs to tell her truth. There's only one truth. It's the truth. The truth doesn't belong to anyone. The truth belongs to the universe. But that doesn't matter to Hollywood. It doesn't matter to these woke SJW idiots. All that matters is her truth. Yeah, sure she lied. Sure she manipulated all of this evidence. Sure she's fabricating these stories, but it's her truth. She's so strong for telling her truth. Man, I hate these freaking weirdos, man. I hate these Hollywood weirdos so freaking much. So much. I cannot stand these woke idiots. It's one of the main reasons why I came to YouTube. And then I started covering stories like this and true crime. But man, I hate the woke idiots in Hollywood. However, Ahurian says that AH's career could be done. And I agree. At the very least, it's going to be severely damaged. When it comes to AH, Hollywood is going to support her. Hollywood is going to have her back. However, the public isn't going to have her back. So yeah, Hollywood will cast her in roles and put her in this and put her in that. But are people going to go see it? Probably not. And eventually, over time, she will fizzle out. And you won't even remember that she exists, other than the fact that she took a crap on Johnny's bed. But that's what the experts have to say. Some seem to be favoring Johnny Depp. At least one of those experts is definitely heavily favoring AH. But at the end of the day, I think it's clear that Johnny has won, at least in the court of public opinion. And now all we have to do is await on the verdict. And like I stated in one of my last videos, I think that will be coming on Tuesday. Although I don't have there's nothing really there that makes me think that, other than I just think that's about how long it's going to take them to deliberate. But I want to know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you on the next video.